What is the true cost of a refinance? We're going to talk about that and all the different advertising that might go on out there about refinances and give you the truth behind it right after this. Hey there, my name is Ryan Skaggs, and this is the Mortgage Minute. This channel is dedicated to everything mortgage, real estate, and interest rates. Today, we're going to talk about mortgage refinances. What is the actual truth behind it? How much does it cost? How long does it take? We're going to dive into all of this. Now, before I get into it, please, I'd be forever grateful. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified as I'm putting out weekly videos on the channel. Now, as we dive into the refinance topic, I would love for you to comment below. What is the monthly amount of savings that you would consider a refinance? Is that if I saved $100 a month, would I consider a refinance? Is it $200 a month? Is it $40 a month? I don't care. I'd love to hear from you below. I'm kind of taking a poll, trying to better understand what the average consumer out there considers. Hey, I would consider this as a good idea, or I would at least talk about it. Not that you have to move forward, but at least talk about it. I'd love to hear your comments below. What does that need to be? Now, let's talk about the actual cost of a refinance. I'm going to move over here real quick. I'm going to kind of go through just a quick little rundown here, as you can see. And there's basically 5-6 total fees in a refinance. So typically you're going to have some sort of loan origination fee. Now that loan origination fee, I'll explain a little bit more here, but we got title, we've got recording fee, meaning that recording the mortgage with the county. We've got some sort of credit report or verifications that we might do. And then we have some sort of appraisal fee. In this case, and I'll kind of come back on, I'm going to kind of go from the top up. Appraisals, a lot of times in a refinance, the appraisal can be waived. Now, what is happening there is that the lender is putting your address into the system and saying, based upon a previous appraisal or potentially potentially knowing a lot about the comparables in the market, the algorithm will spit out and say, no, we do not need an appraisal. We have enough information to tell us that there's value of whatever you input the value. When I say you, I mean the lender. The lender says, hey, we think this is worth at least $400,000. The algorithm would run and say, based upon this, you can have an appraisal waiver, right? So that's why typically refinances, if you've got some equity in the property, you're not going to see any cost to an appraisal. Now, this is not specific to the lender. Shh, I'm letting a secret out of the bag. I'm not that special, neither is the next person you might be talking to. It's based on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So when you're looking at something like that, 95% of the time, it's gonna be based on Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, not the individual lender. So if they're telling you, oh my gosh, I've got the most amazing program ever, I can waive your appraisal, talk to the next guy or gal. They're probably gonna say the same thing. So just, don't tell them that Ryan told you that, right? So next of which is credit report verifications. There's going to be some sort of like small fee structure, maybe a couple $100 of kind of the different things that are going on to verify employment, pull credit, do background searches, do lien searches, stuff like that. You're gonna, and that's going to be very basic in terms of, a couple $100 for most lenders across the country, right? So you're going to have a recording fee. That's specific to you and the county that you live in. So around here in Greater Illinois, Greater Chicago area, typically I put $200 in, and we're going to see something around that $150 to $200 mark. Some might have just a slightly higher recording cost, but again, only a couple $100. Title, you already own the home. So basically they're getting a title policy. The lender is going and getting a title policy to make sure that the taxes have been paid, the municipality, town, village, city, county, state, all think your property's on the up and up. But there is some sort of cost there. You can see that maybe as low as maybe $500, and I've seen that as high as maybe $1,000 for refinances, depending on what state you might be in. And then last but not least is origination fee, and that is the actual lender. That's what they're kind of quote unquote bringing in. As I say, that's the one and only fee that goes directly to the lender. That's what keeps the lights on. That's what's inclusive of myself, my team, my underwriter, my processor, my closer, right? Now, you've probably heard the terms, or you've probably heard no closing cost refinance. So let me take you into a little secret here of what's going on. And again, if you're a lender here, you probably don't want to hear this because the secret's out of the bag. If I told you I can give you a no closing cost refinance and it's going to be at 6.25. Right now you're at 7.5, 6.25. You consumer, Joe Q consumer, I've got such a great deal for you. No cost. Basically what they're saying is the cost is going to be $2,000 to $3,000, but I'm covering it with a lender credit. And basically what they're doing is they're offsetting that cost potentially with a higher rate. So if I told you, Joe consumer, that I can offer you 6.25, as Joe here, I would be asking, what is the rate if I wanted to pay the fees out of pocket? And they very well might tell you it's 6%. Now you need to look at it and say, oh, I could get 6% and pay the fees, or I could get 6.25 and not pay the fees. Now, just make an informed decision. I'm not going to tell you which one's best for you because that would be dependent upon how much you got in the bank, what sort of savings you're actually getting, how much on a monthly difference, how much you care, how much you're going to keep the house, duration of time. But to say that there is a no closing cost refinance is just not true. So let me give you one example. Who is paying the county to record the mortgage? Because I can bet you here in Cook County, they're not waiving the fee because you're special. There is going to be a cost and it's getting covered somehow. Now, is it getting covered in the background with the lender credit? Like I said, could you see a line item that says $0 cash to close? Absolutely. But there is not such a thing as a no closing cost refinance. That does not exist. If you're thinking about a refinance, let me summarize here as we wrap up the video. If you have costs between, say, $2,000 and $3,000, depending on where you might be. Let me give you a quick example. You're in Florida, they're going to charge you a transfer tax. You could have a refinance cost of $10,000, right? So you really need to contact your lender and better understand what the cost is. So I'm talking about this when people are purchasing right now, because we're in a higher interest rate market here at the end of 2023. The potential to see, lower rates in 24 and 25 is much higher than, what we saw before, as we had such generationally low rates. So let's say we have a cost of $2,000. We're going to save $100 per month. Do the math. In 20 months, we're going to have a break even, right? In 20 months, this is going to make sense. So if you're staying in that house for 3 years plus, then that refinance probably makes sense, right? So with that said, if it's $3,000 and you're saving 100, now you got 30 months, right? Now you kind of got to start to consider these different things. If you're taking a higher interest rate and they're waiving the costs, now you can look at it and go, hey, my cost is covered by just taking a slightly higher interest rate than the market, but I'm still saving $200 from month one. This is a pretty darn good deal. Yeah, it's worth looking at, right? If you're going to keep the home, like I'm in a home, I think I might be there for the next 10 to 20 years. So for me, like I'm looking at the long game. Some people might be looking at the short game. If you're looking to maybe sell that home or, do something in the next 2 to 3 years, then maybe getting the cost covered is going to make more sense for you. You're going to stay longer than potentially bringing the costs in. But no, there is no such thing as a no closing cost refinance. There is ways to kind of reduce any money that you'd be putting out, but that is just simply a bad way of representing something from a lender that maybe you have heard from. So that is a refinance. I'd love to hear your comments below. If you've made it this far in the video, click that like button, click that subscribe, and click that bell icon to be notified. So I'm putting out weekly videos on the channel. Stay safe, and we'll see each other again very, very soon.